Yeah, good evening, everyone, and wish you a Merry Christmas today. Yeah, please take over the moderator and host of the day.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Thank you so much, everyone, for having, taking time and being here. Good evening. And it's a wonderful day. Christmas, it's a holiday for everybody. And I welcome you all. And let's start with with a brand like today we have all everything, and we have certain things, skills that we need, and we as an LSN team, Life Skills Nest, have formed together, and we wanted to reach out to many people. And here I have Mr. Rahul, who would actually introduce what exactly we as a team are doing and how did we form. Mr. Rahul is actually a production engineer, and he's into design thinking, robotics, and he's a money mindset, uh, I would say, expert. So let's hear from him. Welcome, Rahul. All over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Merry Christmas to each and everyone. And today we are on this platform of Life Skills Nest. So we started few months back, you will say, and we formed as a team. Few months back we came together. It started as a project, and interestingly we volunteered together, and we will explain in next slides, but literally we are from like army to IT, and like educationists to some tsunami survivors. So interesting team, and I really happy to be part of this team. And why we are here and why we are together is like the main motto is like that is common to all, like helping everyone, helping individuals to become better version of themselves and better performers. And obviously life skills are very important for that. And so what we are doing differently, so we are like not just giving some knowledge or something, just some like webinars. We are literally handling you to for the all the life skills and lead life more happily, more productively, cautiously. So yes, there is a like a yoga and all those things are there. And not to mention the money part. So life skill, we consider money mindset, or money is just one of the life skill, and we are working with you for that. To explain our vision, yes, definitely. So our vision is to empower individuals and communities, and giving them some tools, valuable life skills, and thereby nurture and transform in those individuals, those organizations. So that is our vision. We started with that. We are keeping all our actions, or our programs are aligned to our vision always. So we are here to give you, okay, so for a beautiful you. So that's our, you can say, motto. And the team, so the beautiful team, interesting team, as I mentioned. So they are from education background, army background, IT background. Some are principals, educationists, as I mentioned, the tsunami survivors, the happiness coach, and lot of things. So instead of introducing here only, we will go step by step. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to hand over to the Colonel Sushobit, sir. So yes, about him, no need to mention. Most of people know him here, but he is like a 30 plus years experience in army, and he's not just like a typical army person. He worked with some mechanical stuff, vehicle development, and all those things. So very interesting stuff. He's like you can say mechanical engineer also. You can say he's like a IT engineer also. So that's what I explained. The team is very interesting, and the best example is Colonel sir. So yes, Colonel, over to you for the next introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you for pitching in those kind words for me. And yes, it is my honor today to welcome you all once again. And on the theme of Christmas, I'm sure you will have gone over your evening siesta by now, and you are recharged and energized. And we are here to charge you up again. And for that, I feel very, very happy today to invite one of our very distinguished speakers, a person whom I know about dearly, and I was thinking of having this session with him quite some time back. And today, yes, we have. And you know, it's a unique topic which he talks about. And he's going to educate us through next around 20-25 minutes on selling for non-sales people, or selling by non-sales people. But before that, a word about Sudhanshu Mishra ji. Warm welcome to you. And this, let me tell you, he's got around 3 decades of corporate experience, holding leadership positions in business development, sales, marketing, product management, partners and alliances in areas of IT products, services, and e-learning across India and as well as Middle East. He's also got good certifications. He's got an ACC certification and ICF coaching accreditation certification. and breakthroughs and insights in multiple fields. And some of his core fields are leadership and strategic thinking, mindfulness, sales management, emotional intelligence, conflict management, and so on. List is a little long. So I will like to, not stay more time between you and what is waiting for you. So welcome on board, please, Sudhanshu. Over to you.
Thank you, Colonel Kamra, for that kind introduction. Good evening, everybody, from my side once again, and wish you all a Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here on a holiday, on a day of festival, on a Saturday evening to join us for this interesting topic. The topic is very close to my heart, and I hope I can arouse some interest in all of you when I speak about it. But I'd like to make it a little interactive. So while it may not be possible for all of us to speak at the same time, what I would like you to do is to stay a little active in the chat box. Keep putting your questions, keep raising your hand, keep sending me those reactions which Zoom allows, so that I know what is going on. Otherwise, with most of the people having their videos switched off, I can't really make out whether I'm talking to a wall or whether I'm talking to you people behind the wall. So it'd be best if we can have some interaction. That'll give me some energy, and it'll also give me some food for thought. So it's just a request, all of you, please keep putting your comments and reactions in the chat box or through the reaction button which Zoom provides, and let's keep it going live, because the more I understand what you're understanding, or what the relevance of what I'm saying, the more feedback I get, the better it can get for all of us. So with that, I want to first start by asking all of you, how excited or how attentive are you for the session today? On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate yourself? Please put a number in the chat box and let me know, where are you placed? Dr. Alka Chadda is saying 11. So that's right, she's breaking the scales. Thank you very much, Dr. Alka Chadda. In the true spirit of being a happiness coach, you've given me the right input to start with. So I'd like the rest of you all to put your rating in the chat box about what you are feeling. And I see most of the inputs I'm getting are in double digits. That's so exciting. So with that, let me start sharing my screen, because I have a small presentation. While I would like you not to spend too much time on the presentation itself, let's spend more time on the interaction. The presentation is just as a guideline to look at, so that I don't miss out on any talking points. But the idea is to make it interactive. So without further ado, let me just get down to start sharing my screen. And I'm a little handicapped at technology, so let me see how to do that. One moment. Just half a minute, please. Allow me to share the screen, please. Just half a minute. Yeah, I think we are there. Can you see my screen? Put a yes if you can see my screen. Put a yes in the chat box. All those who can see my screen, and those who can't, you can put a no. So then if there are more no's, then I will, or like Rahul has raised his thumb, that's also a good sign. I can see yours. So thumbs up, that means you can see my screen. Great. So the topic is selling skills for non-sales people. Now, when we hear the word sales or selling, somewhere it conjures a little bit of a negative image in the mind of most of the people. If you ask any parents, what do you want your child to become? Hardly anybody would say that they want him to become a salesperson or a sales executive in the future. They might say engineer, pilot, army officer, doctor, scientist, lawyer, chartered accountant, businessman, entrepreneur, etc., etc. So the list goes on. But even if you ask any parents or even a young child, what does he want to become in his career? What does he want? I doubt if you will find even in the top 50 top professions, anybody saying they want to become have done well in sales. We've become, I didn't, when I was a child, I also didn't think of becoming a salesperson. But as luck would have it, a lot of times we become what we don't want to become in the childhood because we don't know. And I have no regrets. It's been one of the most exciting professional journeys I've had. Now, selling skills, while sales as a career comes with a little bit of question mark for most people, but selling skills is something that everybody needs in day-to-day life. At every point in life, you're selling something, right? Whether it's at a job interview, whether it is trying to convince somebody, whether it's trying to convince your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, wife about something, your parents about something, your children about something. Every interaction that you have, when you're giving something and trying to get something, whether it's a whether it's a promise, whether it's a, you are trying to sell something.
Yes.
Do you agree with me or no? If you agree with me, put a yes in the chat box. Yeah. Put a yes in the chat box if you agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, put a question in the chat box and I'll address it later. So what exactly is sales? What exactly is sales? Does anybody want to unmute themselves and give me an answer? What is the meaning of sales? I'd like to hear somebody's voices here.
Yes, I would like to say something.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, to me, the selling is a service. Selling is something like a serving to others. And as you rightly said, the selling starts from whether it is between the parents, between the children, or between the wife. Everywhere you are selling yourself every day to day, from selling your ideas, selling your assumptions, selling your views. That is, everything is a selling and part of life. You can't remain without selling. It's not only the monetary, it is all, it could be your ideas, views, or your point of view, everything is a selling.
Great. Who was that? I missed the name of the person who was speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you very much for that comment. And I really appreciate that. So, you're actually endorsing what I said when I said that at every stage of life, every day, every human being has to sell something or the other all the time. So we are either selling or buying. Yet we feel a little uncomfortable, especially people who are not in the sales profession, feel a little uncomfortable when the word sales is mentioned. And and when we say somebody's doing sales talk, it is seen as a negative kind of a talk, right? Well, the traditional definition of sales is a contract between two parties, one delivering a product or service and the other paying for it, right? So it's like an exchange of, in the olden days, there used to be a barter where you gave an object and took another object of similar value. Today, we obviously use currency for it in a business situation where you provide a product or service and get some money in return. But in real life, when you're actually selling within a relationship, you're actually giving a promise and extracting a promise, right? Or giving a favor and extracting a promise. And this can apply to children, this can apply to your partners, friends, siblings, anybody, as I said, right? A lot of times we also confuse sales with marketing. How many of you know the difference between sales and marketing? Would anybody like to clarify that? It'll be very nice to hear comments on that as well. What do you see as a difference between marketing and sales?
So marketing is something which, when you fulfill someone's need, though taking care of, and it's a much more bigger gambit when we speak about marketing. It is fulfilling someone's needs and at the same time ensuring that your business profits are maintained. Vis-a-vis sales is a very specific instance of getting to somebody of what his need are, when you are really explaining that particular point in time. Okay, this is what I have a product, everything is ready. Now I'm really talking to my target segment. And when I'm really making whatever I have done as a piece of my marketing, my product is designed, my price is designed, my promotional campaign is designed. All these 4 factors are well designed now. And using those 4 factors, now I'm making a sale pitch to somebody who really wants and whose need I'm really fulfilling at the end of the day. That's what I understand between sales and marketing.
Great, Sachin. You've given a typical MBA-like answer. So thank you very much for that. In this very simple words, and I think I really appreciate you went into immense detail on this. So I really appreciate that. What marketing basically means is right from the time you conceive an idea to the time you bring it to the customer's doorstep or to the point where the customer can buy it. And a lot of times, definition of marketing also include the process of sales itself. Marketing is more about creating awareness, branding it, pricing it, bringing it, distribution, as the 4 P's of marketing said, bringing it to the right place and promoting it. Like taking the horse to the water is marketing, but making the horse drink the water is sales. There is the difference. So, a marketing would amount to bringing a product to somebody's doorstep, but actual process of giving the product or service to them and collecting money from them is what sales is all about, right? So in a non-sales situation or in a family situation or relationship situation, marketing is when you do all the goody things to make the other person feel nice, right? Sales is when you actually make them do something for you by giving them a favor or a promise. That's how And it's the same thing in an interview. Your CV, the resume that you present to the hiring manager or the recruiter is your marketing tool, right? The interview that you give is a marketing tool, or part of it may be a sales pitch, but it's again marketing. The sale actually happens when you're able to convince the recruiter to hire you and give you an appointment letter. That is when the transaction is closed, the contract is closed. That is when the sales actually happens. Have I made it clear? Does anybody have any questions? If you understood what I said, please put a yes in the chat box. If you haven't understood, please put a no or put your question. Or if you're not listening to me, just say I'm not listening in the chat box. So I can see a lot of yeses in the chat box. Some people are saying understood, some are saying clear. Very good. We'll keep moving. And at any stage, please feel free to stop me and ask me questions. As long as the moderator doesn't stop me, I can keep talking about this topic. So, so the responsibility to stop me is on the moderator. Now I've got the stage, so I'll take advantage of it and talk about it as long as I can. Now, that is on a serious note. I've been given 20-25 minutes to complete this, and I'll try to stick to that. So, why is the slide not moving? Yeah, myths about sales. As I earlier mentioned, there are a lot of myths about sales as a profession or sales as an activity, right? You know, can you put some of the myths in the, or some of the stigmas attached to sales as a profession in the chat box? When you hear the word sales, what comes to your mind? You know, some of the things that come to mind are salespeople are sneaky and untrustworthy. You know, if a salesperson comes to your door, you want to turn him away. You don't want, you know, many societies, many communities have instructions to the security. Don't allow salespeople to come into the community, right? So salespeople are considered sneaky and untrustworthy. Salespeople are also considered aggressive. बातों में दबा देगा हमको. You know, I'm sorry for using a little bit of Hindi in between because it comes naturally to me, but I hope all of us can follow Hindi, English a little bit, and those who can't, apologies to them. So salespeople are aggressive. You know, they can outvoice us, they can make a lot of noise, they can talk aggressive words and force us to do something that we don't want to do. Salespeople are glib, talking a decision that we don't want to take, right? These are some of the myths about sales. Salespeople are selfish. All they are worried about is dumping a product on us and collecting money from us, right? That's a very, very prevalent myth or belief, I should say, in the society. Salespeople are party animals. In most companies, the salespeople, you know, especially this is very true in the corporate world, the sales team has an image of being party animals. They are the people who would go and, you know, party at the end of the day, whining and dining with their clients or among themselves, celebrating. Whereas the rest of the functions, the accounts, the finance, the technical, the project people, the operations people, they are busy toiling behind their computers or, you know, balance sheets all day long. So that's another myth about sales. Sales is not a respectable or dignified job. And as I mentioned, it is not a dream job for most people in their young age, and definitely not for most of the parents. If you ask any parent, would you like your child to become a salesperson? They would say no. Yeah, I can see some artwork coming onto my slides. So that is very interesting. And I think you're looking for the chat box, perhaps. Sales is all about money. I think that's kind of got repeated in another form, that salespeople are only concerned about money, the amount of commissions, the incentives they make, and the amount of money they can get from a client. They're not worried about the client or anybody else. And if you have a lot of people also believe, especially people who are not in sales, people who are technical people who make products, people who create services, believe that if you create a good product, it will sell itself. You don't need a sales team. My friends, the reality is that most of this is largely untrue. Most of this is untrue. And unfortunately, because of whatever reasons, these myths have come to be very commonly believed in the society. But if you realize, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a freelancer, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're doing something on your own, if you try setting up a small business, sales is something that you cannot live without. And whether you are a salesperson or not, you know, a lot of the startup founders, for example, come up with great ideas, but they don't know how to sell and they don't like selling. But unless they sell, they cannot get investment funding for their companies. They cannot sell their product to the customers. They have to sell eventually. Sales is something that they have to live with, and it's the only function that actually gets money into the house, right? Is it making sense, or am I going overboard?
Yes, yes.
Is it?
Sense, yes.
Oh, great. So I'd like some reactions, please. Some reactions, some comments in the chat box, some questions. Has anybody asked any question? I've not been looking at the chat box continuously because I'm busy talking and just listening to my own voice. Yeah, someone is saying one thought that comes to mind is salespeople are very high-paid, very stressful work. Oh, she's a very sympathetic HR manager, I think, from her past life. So that's why, Suman, I think what you said is right. That's largely true.
I was in HR earlier. Thankfully, I got into yoga.
No, I know, Suman. That's why I said that. I said spoken like a true, a true HR manager who's very sympathetic and friendly. And I know you come from the same industry that I do. So, having known, I've seen the other side of the table, and I really appreciate you being such an empathetic HR person, which is another rare breed. If you ask a typical corporate person. Thanks for that. If anybody else has any comments, please feel free to share. Otherwise, I'll just move on to the next slide to talk a little bit about what a salesperson should be. Some of the qualities that a salesperson, and a lot of people misunderstand that these, the qualities that are needed for a sales. Of course, the list can be endless, but the key qualities that a salesperson has to have is he or she should be a good listener. There is a reason because of which we've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's a little bit of a symbolic representation, which means that we should talk less and listen more. This is especially true for salespeople in a sales function. If you are a salesperson, you think you can carry the day by just talking. I'm sorry, that will not work. You have to be an excellent salesperson, to be a good salesperson, to be a successful salesperson, to be able to successfully sell anything, anytime. You have to be a good listener, because unless you listen, you will not understand the customer's requirement, the other party's needs. You will not understand what they are looking for, and your knowledge will be that you'll be coming from a place of partial information and talking. You also have to be empathetic. Now, this somebody else mentioned at the beginning of our session that a good salesperson is someone who cares for the customer, who understands what the customer is looking for, who's trying to solve a problem for the customer, who's trying to fulfill a genuine need of the customer rather than just trying to sell something and run away, right? So a good salesperson has to be empathetic. You also have to be curious. So while I said you have to listen more, talk less, but when you talk, you should ask more questions and give less information. Don't try to dump a lot of information on the customer, rather ask for information from the customer so that you are in a better situation. And when I'm using the word customer, it's a word for the party that you're trying to sell to, right? The skill is replicable or transferable in any situation in life. The person who's in the buying situation is a customer, and the person who's selling is the seller, right? So these terms are being used very, generically. So pardon me if I'm not making sense. Needless to say, the salesperson has to be confident, because if you're not confident, if you're anxious, if you're nervous, it will show in your behavior, and nobody likes to buy from a nervous salesperson. A confident salesperson who knows what he's doing, who knows about his product, who knows about his service, who knows about his industry, his customer, the requirement that he's fulfilling, is a better salesperson. And that means you have to be well prepared, which is what the last point here is. When I say well prepared, when you're selling something, you obviously have to know very, very well about what you are trying to sell, what you're trying to position, the need that you're trying to fulfill, and a little bit more about the customer also. What is the customer? Where is the customer coming from? What is going on in his mind? What is the pain? What is his hope? What are his goals? What are his plans? What is the competition he's dealing with? What is the kind of challenges he's facing day to day? So, unless you understand all of that, you will not be able to solve a problem. And this is true for a professional, like a lawyer or an accountant or a trainer or a coach. When they are trying to solve a customer's problem, they need to understand what the customer's need is, what his problems are, what are the pains he's going through, to be able to help them. Needless to say, you have to be well-mannered. This is true for everybody, actually. I think everybody should be well-mannered, but a salesperson in particular has to be well-mannered. Who would buy from a rude salesperson, right? If a salesperson does not talk, so that means coming, when I said well-mannered, I put soft skills in the bracket, which means that you also have to have a lot of soft skills. You should have good communication skills, good presentation skills, good relationship building skills. And this is where I think Life Skills Nest is playing a great role by imparting such skills to the people who subscribe to their programs, right? Coming to the next point, has everybody understood these points? Is there any question, any disagreement, anything you don't like here? Or just put a yes if I'm making sense. Just put a yes once again so that I know there's some energy in the room. I'm not the only one talking to a wall. So let's see how many yeses we get in the chat box quickly. You guys are typing too slow. Suman, thank you. Chaitanya, thank you. Madhuji, thank you. Manoj, thank you. Rohit, thank you. Great, great. Really appreciate this. I'm making you do things which you may not want to do, but when I request, you are acting, and that's nice. The second last point on my list is relentless. What is important in sales is, and this is a skill that I learned the hard way. Nobody teaches this. We have to understand it is perhaps one of the most important things to know. When a client says no, the no does not mean never. A lot of times when we're trying to sell to somebody and the client says, no, I don't need it. I don't want to buy from you. We take that no as a never. It does not mean never. No does not mean never. No means not now, not yet, okay? Not right now. But it's taking you one step. Every no actually is taking you one step closer to a yes. Just keep that in mind. So you have to be relentless. And by this, I mean, even if a client says no, your potential prospect customer says no to you, you have to keep in touch with them. You have to keep inquiring about them. You have to, kind of keep exchanging thoughts with them. I'm not saying that pick up the phone every day and ask them, sir, yesterday you said no, are you going to say yes today? That won't work. A straight thing like that will never work. He will actually stop picking up your calls. But every now and then, talk to him or her, inquire about them, find out when is their birthday, when is their anniversary, greet them, share relevant information with them, find softer ways to keep in touch with them so that in the future, when they have a need for the product or service that you are selling, they think of you before anybody else. And these situations keep changing. I've had in my sales career, I've had customers who eventually bought something for me 3 years after I made the first contact. The first time they said no, then they said no, then they said no, but I kept in touch. I kept, in touch. I would call them once in a while. I would send them an interesting text message sometimes. If I came across something interesting about their industry, I would share it with them. I would follow their company's progress in social media and general media. And if I came across an interesting article or an interview, I would share it with them. So these are different ways in which I used to keep in touch with my clients. And sooner than later, they would develop a certain warmth for me and they would realize that this person cares for me. And when there's a need for a product or service that I was selling, they would think about me. Is it making sense? And I have been on the buying side as well. And I have seen, 2 salespeople who said no. This was very true for an insurance salesperson to whom I said no once. But eventually I ended up buying insurance from him after 4 or 5 years because he relentlessly kept in touch with me. He would keep in touch. He would wish me on every festival, on my birthday, and call me from time to time whenever there was a new scheme that the company was offering. It reached a stage where I realized he's such a nice. He's been keeping in touch with me. And I think he just said that after you follow up with a client 8 or 9 times, whereas most of the salespeople actually give up after following up for 2 or 3 times. So if you follow up for 2, 3, 4 times, you will hear a no for an answer, and then you will give up. You will move on to other clients. The reality is that instead of going to new clients, if you continue following up with the same client, after 8 or 9 follow-ups, there's a very high chance that the client will say yes. So this is something that I've learned from experience. That not to say that you should not go to new clients. You should keep looking, prospecting, keep looking for especially if sales is your profession. But it's important also to keep in touch with prospects who've said no to you. And what a salesperson should not be: a glib talker. Somebody who talks very smoothly, we immediately starts doubting their intention. A person who talks too smoothly sometimes is not, does not sound very credible or trustworthy. Have you seen that? Secondly, we start assuming too much. A salesperson often starts assuming things instead of asking and clarifying, because you think, I've sold to so many such people, I know exactly what they want, right? The fact of the matter is every customer, every buyer is different, right? If you don't agree with me, put a no in the chat box. If you agree with me, put a yes in the chat box. Yeah. So sometimes you end up giving too much information because you are too much full of yourself and you just keep talking and you want to tell him as many things about your product or service. To the extent that the buyer gets confused. Features or benefits that are impactful for them, which are useful for them, rather than telling them too many things. Focusing on features, this is especially true for people who are selling products. A lot of times you'd have seen, especially people who sell cars, they will sell you, the thousands of features that the car has. The fact of the matter is most of the buyers are not concerned about the features. They're only concerned about some benefits that they are getting, the mileage, sometimes the snob value of the car, the resale value of the car, the comfort of driving, and a few basic features. Nobody is concerned about a lot of these things which are under the hood, not visible, right? Most of the buyers don't understand the technology. They cannot make a difference. If you put two engines in front of them, they will not be able to make out the difference between the two. And they don't care. To them, what matters are, to different people, it's different features which matter. And as there was a very popular ad which said that the Indian buyer typically asks, "Kitna deti hai?" What is the mileage the car gives more than anything else, right? They're not concerned about anything else, right? And when you tell them too much, then they would, the client would come up with objections like, "Oh, your car is available in only red, blue, and white colors. I'm actually looking for a brown color car. My astrologer has told me to buy a brown color car, so sorry, I can't buy from you." These are some kind of objections they will come up with when you confuse them with too many features. Giving an example of a car, because car is a easy example to give, but this applies to most of the products or services. A good salesperson should not be negating or denying objections, because when you're making a sales pitch, a lot of times the clients will come up with objections, doubts, clarifications. Sometimes an aggressive salesperson will try to smother them by denying those objections or negating them rather than addressing them. If you address those objections, if you clarify those objections, some of them may be genuine fears or worries that the client has. If you clarify them, work on them, and at a time, and a great salesperson would actually say no to a client if he feels that his product is not meeting the customer's requirements, and actually point him to some other product which is meeting the requirement. I've seen salespeople do that, and those salespeople get immense respect from their client. They become trusted advisors to their customers forever, for a lifetime, right? But many short-sighted salespeople think that, if I have to somehow push my product into this customer's kitty rather than trying to sell them something else or telling them that, what they need, right? Another thing is the last point on the right column is saying, to be honest, to be frank, trust me. If you use too many of these words, the client says, when you're saying to be honest, were you not honest before this, right? Or when you're asking me to trust you, what do you expect? When I'm listening to you, that means I'm going to trust you. Should I not trust you? Why? It start raising, if you use, and a lot of people use these as fillers in their conversation. When they don't have the right words, they will say, to be honest, I want to tell you that this product will be very good for you. The client will say, that means you were not being honest with me before. That immediately raises a doubt in the client's mind. So when you speak with confidence, rather than trying to use such words, it can make a bigger difference. Is it making sense? Any questions? I want to take a half a minute break to drink some water, and I want somebody else to now ask a question or say something. And read the last quote on the slide, please. People don't care about how much you know till they know about how much you care.
Yeah, thanks, Sudhanshu. Yeah, please go over, take that water break which you need. And you've been filling the session very nicely. Yeah, back to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Colonel Kamra. Thanks for that encouragement. Any comments, questions, or anything? All right. So I'll move to the next slide. Looks like there are no questions. And I'm assuming I'm not talking to a wall. So all those who've understood what I've said so far and have agree with what I've said, please put a yes in the chat box. Let me see how many yeses I get in the next 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. You guys type so fast. So my goodness, that's so impressive. Let's go to the next slide then. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now pay attention to the slide. Steps in selling. There are 4 steps in any sale. Of course, there are, if you go through any sales training program, they will tell you 7 steps to selling, 5 steps to selling, 3 steps to selling. Different authors and thought leaders have provided different models of sales. But broadly, in my view, and I've studied a lot of literature on this subject, trust me, broadly, there are 4 stages in sales and marketing, right? And then you can, of course, subdivide them into more steps. These 4 steps are AIDA. A stands for attention or awareness, where you create awareness about your product, and you, as a salesperson, create awareness about the customer. So first is the awareness stage, where you get to know each other. Second is the interest or influence stage, where you actually start understanding the need of the customer and trying to position your product to fit that requirement, to meet their requirement. The third is the desire or the decision stage, where the customer starts believing that you are giving them something that they need, right? And they start thinking about taking up this. In fact, they start saying yes to your product. They feel a genuine desire to take what you're giving them. And the last and the most important stage is the action, where the actual transaction takes place, where you provide the product or service and the customer gives you the money that is, the value for the product or service that you're giving. Is it making sense? AIDA, AIDA. Ananya, thank you for the thumbs up. Really appreciate that. So any questions, any interruptions here? Rahul has given me his heart. Thank you, Rahul. You're so kind. So,
loving it so far.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. So this, I think, is my last slide. And I'm sorry that this is going to end, although I've been enjoying it so far. These are some of the points that you have to remember. If you don't remember everything that I said, if you don't ask, the answer is no, right? But remember, no does not mean never. When a buyer says no, he means not now, not yet. He does not mean no forever. So the key thing in a sales job, when you're trying to sell something to anybody else, whether you are a salesperson or not, is to always remember that no is permanent. No is not permanent, right? It is not never. Second, every time you follow up or you are one step closer to closing your sale, even if the client is saying no. So every no is actually taking you one step closer to a yes. So don't be afraid of no's. If you have a very strong fear of rejection, then you will not be successful in sales, because in sales, you get more rejections than acceptance always, right? To close one sale, you may actually have to hear a no from 9 customers, right? Or depending on the industry or the product you're selling, the percentage can change. But the number of buyers is always smaller than the number of people who say no to you. And you have to be prepared for that. That is a part of the process. You will not get, as I said, every no is taking you one step closer to the yes. The third and the most important step is, as a salesperson, don't be in a hurry to sell and run. If you don't care, the customer will also not care for you. And it shows. Customers are smart people. They are also human beings like you and me, right? We have also been on the buying side of things. We buy so many things every day. You will not buy a service, whether it's a medical service from a doctor or any kind of service from somebody unless you feel they care for you, right? Sometimes, I remember one of, and this is an example I'm giving from my own life, one of the biggest doctors of Delhi. We used to go to him for some consultation for my wife very frequently. But the doctor is a very busy guy, a very senior doctor. He would look at you, he would understand your problem, and he would write a prescription and give it to you. He would sometimes during the whole consultation, he would not even utter a word. Or, at the most he would. So one always got a feeling that he doesn't care. At one stage, my wife said, I don't want to go to him. He doesn't seem to care, though he's the best doctor in his field in the whole city of Delhi. So, so it is important to show that you care and genuinely care for for customer to come back to you. Next point, happy customers lead to more sales. We all know that. And when you are happy with somebody, a shopkeeper, a barber, for example, the salon that you go to for haircut, if you like the guy's attitude, if he does a good job for you, you will go to him more and more, right? So you will buy more and more from someone who's been good to you. And you will not only buy yourself, you will also take your friends, your family member, your children, etc., 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 right? So if you make one customer happy, there's a very good chance that that customer will get you more customers. And it is easy to get new customers from existing customers rather than run after absolutely new unknown customers. Is it making sense? I think it is making sense. Yeah, okay. Rahul is smiling, so I'm assuming it is making sense. Next and last point is no business can run without sales. So please forget the myths and the dogmas and the stigmas that we talked about sales. Sales is not, as I said, it may not be a career that many people aspire to be in, but it is something without which no business can run. Every business has to sell to get money into the house, to get realized value. You might make an excellent product, but unless you have a buyer, your product is useless. You might be a very good provider of an excellent service, but till you are able to sell that service to somebody, it is of no at all. Do you agree with me there? This has made any sense to you? If you have any questions, this was my last slide. I'm coming to the end of my presentation. I don't know how I'm doing on time. The moderator has not stopped me, so I'm assuming I'm doing well. So we have another 2 or 3 minutes in which I can answer questions. If there are any questions, please unmute yourself and ask. These are my contact details for your reference in case you'd like to know more about sales. I keep conducting programs. I do sales coaching. I do executive coaching. I do leadership coaching. Happy to share my experiences with you and do more elaborate sessions on sales in case you're interested. You can reach out to me, or you can reach out to me through Life Skills Nest as well. I'm very closely associated with them. And I once again want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you to Life Skills Nest for having me here and giving me this opportunity to blow my trumpet. Thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to stop sharing and open the floor to questions. Are there any questions? Can somebody look at the chat box and tell me if there are any questions? I haven't been really looking at the chat box. I was just looking at the yeses and nos.
Thank you, Sudhanshu. In fact, there have been no questions so far.
Wow.
People, if you have any questions, you can post it right now. So we can.
I see Brigadier Basin is raising his finger, so I'm assuming he has a question. So please go ahead.
No, I don't have a question. Firstly, I wanted to say that the portion I heard, half of it or so, was very nice. And I must congratulate you for a very good job done. Very clear, good slides, simple ones, and good substance.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I was only having a dig at you that at one stage you said, in one slide you said, don't use the words, trust me and all that. And in the very next slide you used it yourself. You said,
I noticed it myself. I noticed it myself.
I've done a lot of research on the subject, trust me. I put something in the chat box to say, trust you. Why should I trust you?
No, I get you. I know that is so I've also been a lifelong salesperson. So yeah, there's a question from Manish Agrawal.
I just take a minute to highlight that I had to buy a car for my wife, and I'm just reinforcing what you said. And next to our house on the Link Road, within about 1 kilometer, there are 3 showrooms. So we started with, we wanted to see what Indigo looked like. Went there. A lot of rush was there. Nobody bothered. It took me about 10 minutes to get hold of a salesperson and say, यार कुछ बताओ मेरे को. तो उसने एक brochure रखे और चला गया. And then for 5 minutes it didn't come. Then finally he came and he just did all this, you know. He'll give you so much of mileage. He'll give you this rattled off as if he's in a hurry to go to some other client. We just walked out of the showroom. It didn't. I just took that brochure, went along. Next was Maruti. A little better experience, but not great. The third one was Hyundai. At Hyundai, when we reached and we were looking for this, what is it called? Sandro. So there was a girl, I still haven't forgotten her name. She was Sunita, very smartly dressed in a, in a coat and tie and all that. And firstly, she was standing at the door at the entrance and she welcomed us. Then she made us sit down. The first thing she said, of course, some water came. Somebody like to have tea and coffee, tea or coffee. So you know how you make a person feel happy. None of the other two people did that. And then to cut the long story short, she asked me a lot of questions. What do you want in a car? She's still not come to the model and all. What do you prefer? Why are you buying the car? What is the aim and all that? So I told them, I told her, I've got a car. I want to buy this for my wife. She wanted a small car. It should be easy for her to park it and this and that, blah, blah. And ultimately, firstly, I thought that even as a salesperson, she had good technical knowledge. So when she said that this car gives so much of kph, I said, but Indigo gives better than that. She said, sir, it has got so much of weight, latent weight is so-and-so, its HP is so-and-so. Can it possibly give the mileage that they have quoted? So they will say 13 and it will give you 10. So we'll say 10 and it will give you 13. That's the difference. Okay. Sounded convincing, whether it was true or not, but it looked logical. And at least with the technical support and statistics and data, she sounded more convincing. Then it finally came to the color. So she said, sir, which color would you like? I said, what's the difference? She said, black and white cost, I think 5,000 rupees lesser than the other colors. I said, you tell me, if you were to buy a car, what color would you buy? She said, no, sir, you tell me your preference. I'm saying, I want to know your preference. She said, sir, I would buy either white or black. I said, why? She said, sir, ये कहीं ठक ठुक जाती है तो उसको कोई भी पेंट कर देगा, लेकिन अगर आपके पास गोल्डन है, रेड है, तो उसका वो कलर मैच करने के लिए you will have to go to a Hyundai showroom only. Now she is telling me that a wayside repair shop can do my job, which means you feel that she's honest about it. She's not trying to grab a customer coming back to Hyundai showroom only. And then I said, when will you deliver it? And this is the last crunch point. I'm telling you how sales matter and why after so many years, I'm still talking about her. Out of the hundreds of sales experiences, why do I remember this? So she said, I said, when will you give it to us? So she said, sir, by Monday. So I just looked at my wife and I said, oh my God. So we'll miss that. She said, what happened? I said, no, we had to go for a wedding to Pune on Sunday. So I think we'll have to take a cab because my car is gone with somebody else. So she said, sir, I'll try to give you by Saturday. I said, Saturday ko hum loha nahi kharidte hain. So that is a family tradition. So wo nahi karna hai. So either Friday or Monday, but theek hai, then we'll take a cab and go. So she said, okay. But on Thursday evening, she called me up and said, sir, please come and collect your car tomorrow morning. And then when I went and we got the delivery of the car, she said, sir, I knew I'll give it to you on Friday, but I couldn't have made a commitment because it is beyond me. Somebody else is affected. So she said, I decided, I've gone out of the way. I wanted to make sure you get it on Friday, but I didn't commit to you because I want to undercommit and overperform. And the difference
Great.
between that day and this day is that please don't follow this system of under committing and over performing. Today it doesn't work. Today it is over committing and over performing.
Yes.
जिससे जहां आपने under commit कर दिया, you are out of competition because other person has already committed better than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to over commit and then over perform. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. That was very, very empowering. You put the punch there. And
there are a couple of questions.
Do we have anybody?
Yeah, there are a couple of questions I have. One is from Manish.
We got to now shoot up. थोड़ा सा time हम लोग ज़्यादा exceed कर गए.
I'll just try to answer quickly. Manish Agarwal and Sachin Singhal has raised his hand, so I just want to address these two people.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I took so much of time that.
No, sir. No, sir.
No. It was useful. It was
we enjoyed it.
So Manish, to answer to your question is an introvert person. The simple answer to your question is yes. An introvert person can be a good salesperson. I have been an introvert all my life, and I have been quite a successful salesperson. What you need to have is the qualities that I mentioned on the slide. You have to be a good listener. You have to be empathetic. You have to be well prepared, well mannered, confident. If you have those qualities, and if you have the desire to succeed, you can be a good salesperson. You don't have to be an extrovert, party-loving, socializing animal to be a salesperson necessarily, right? So introversion or being introverted or extroverted has nothing to do with your success in sales. It is all about the other qualities that I talked about. And usually introverts are better listeners, so their chances are higher. I hope I've answered your question. Next, Sachin had raised his hand, so I would like to...
So Sudhanshu, I just raised my hand just to add to what you said. Remember, no is never a no. So I just said as a salesperson, there was an experience which I had, that perseverance is something which is very important for a salesperson rather than anything else. And just to add to that, it was like I was as a part of my sales pitch to a client in Jharkhand power sector. And it took us almost a year's time to close that deal. Couple of senior officials changed during that time. Everything happened what should not have happened. But still, we continue to show our perseverance with them, stay connected with them. And I think we were good enough to close the deal at the end of the day. So I think what you said is absolutely right. You just need to be more perseverance, and show that that you really care for the client and stay connected with the client. You never know when this opportunity opens up. Just to add to that, what you said.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Sachin. Thanks a lot. I think Madhuji has raised her hand, and Suman has made a friendly comment that, the takeaway for her is that no is never a permanent no. So great. I'm glad you have some takeaway. Madhuji, you were wanting to ask something?
She's put a comment.
Yeah. First of all, let me thank you for this wonderful session. And one small question is, we know our economy runs on sales.
Yeah.
And sales is a skill.
Yeah.
So is there any technique for pitching our sales?
Pitching our...
Right time? Any right time for pitching our sales?
The right time is when the customer needs it. That's the best time. But the second best time is when you want to sell. So there is no right or wrong answer to that. And selling is a skill like any other skill. You get better and better the more you practice, right? So a lot of times I advise new salespersons to practice their selling skill at home with their grandmother or with a 7-year-old child. If you are able to convince your grandmother or your 7-year-old child, then you are a good salesperson. If you can explain it to them, then you can explain it to anybody else. So, that's an example that I give, but the more you practice, the better you get. And the timing is usually, if you're in touch with your customer, then you would know when the need is there. The customer, just say in strike the iron when it's hot. Hindi mein kehte hain na loha garam ho tab marna chahiye. So in English also they say the strike the iron when it's hot. So you have to, if you are constantly in touch with your prospect, your customers, you would know, like the example Sachin gave with the Jharkhand Power Department, because they were in touch with them for a year relentlessly and persevered with it, they were able to get the business, the time, and the customer needed it. So thanks. I think we're running out of time. If there are any more questions,
thank you so much.
Please put them in the chat box. I'll try to answer them in the chat box itself, or you can reach out to me directly or through LSN network to answer the questions in the future. Thank you very much once again. I really appreciate, and thank you the moderators for giving me the extra time. And I think I overshot very, very badly. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll mute myself and keep shut now.
Thank you so much, Sudhanshu. That was a wonderful session. I didn't want to interrupt. You were going in a flow, and everybody were liking it. So even I wanted to know more about sales, and I could not stop you. And having learned the acronym AIDA and what are the skills that we need, what we need to do, it was excellent. And having said that, we all have a question about quality or quantity. And we have a confusion about whether we want to go for a quality or we want to go to the quantity. And it's a big debate for many, many years. So I just want to ask Mr. Sushobit sir, whether, what exactly he has to say as to what we need, whether quality quantity in many aspects.
The topic of the evening for the panel discussion is open now. And, Ananya has opened this door, in fact, for this panel discussion session. She will be moderating it, of course. And the topic which is there today is quality versus quantity. Now, just look at it, how the life has been. मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई भी जिंदगी का पहलू था ऐसा जब हमारे को ये सिचुएशन नहीं फेस होती थी, when we were not at the crossroads, quality versus quantity. So there are a lot of things. Today's panel discussion, we have very interesting things which can help you take decisions of your life, and perhaps some of them you will take up as a takeaways also. It's actually a paradox. But when you come to talk about a situation like mine, that is army, so army mein to quality jo hai, that is paramount. We work on precisions. We work on precisions, and we cannot expect that the gun is not to fire the right point or the right time, right quality. I am a man with a Six Sigma background, and I have had the first projects going on also in defense. So Six Sigma is one thing which says no defects. Defective parts are minimized. So we have quality issues there. Yes, but today's topic, we have some things, friend, which we are adding to our daily life as well when it comes to quality and quantity. They are both important, but let us try and understand from the perspective of our team who's here today. That is a panel team which is there. And I hope these two words do not need more explanation. They are all clear to everyone on board, but let us have a relook, look at it de novo today, and try and understand what it both mean. Okay. Yeah, back to you, Ananya.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, we all know the answer, yet we have certain doubts every time we
There's a paradox. There is a dilemma, always a paradox and a dilemma. Yeah, go ahead.
So when it comes to life, there are many things that we have, and it's mostly important thing that we need to take care of is health. And our happiness coach is here for us to talk about health. And she's actually a founder of Supriya Zindagi School of Happiness. And she's a doctor of pathology. And her tagline is, being happy is the greatest gift we can give to each other. Let me welcome Dr. Alka to talk about what is required in terms of quality or quantity for our health.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Ananya, and welcome to everybody. Sudhanshu, first and foremost, I really enjoyed your session. And the takeaway for me, for all the youngsters today, is that never take no for a no. If you're quoting a girl, or nowadays if a girl is quoting a boy, no is never a no. Keep persevering, keep persisting, and you are going to win that girl and you're going to win that boy. That is my takeaway. So now coming to the topic today, Ralph Emerson has given one quote, for every minute that we are angry, we are losing about 60 seconds of our happiness. So what are we doing about our anger? What are we doing about our quality of our life? Here we are talking about things that we want to achieve so much in our life, but our day-to-day life quality is going down because we are burning out, we are angry. And as Gandhiji said, that be the change that you want to have in your life. Are we doing that? Are we actually helping ourselves? So like you said, Sudhanshu, for selling, you need to nourish that particular relationship between the seller and the buyer. Just like a doctor, for me, I have to do nothing except listen to the patient and just give the proper advice to the patient. And listening is for me the biggest thing which helps me to connect with my patient. I used to think that, selling is very, very difficult, but after hearing you, I feel that it is just an extension of what I'm doing actually in my life every day. So I would end today by just saying, we have to take ownership, responsibility. And somebody said, like, you show me your habits and I'm going to show you your life. We have to create discipline in our life and be grateful for what we have rather than be thinking about what we don't have, nourishing our life and loving each other. I think that will make us a great, great life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alka, ma'am. And it's really true that be the change you want to see. And not many people do that. And that's why we all end up somewhere mostly in chaos. So next to health, what is important for us? Money. Money we always want to have, and we want to know whether, to invest in mutual funds and whatever we have doubts, for that kind. I want to invite Mr. Rahul Patki, who's a money mindset coach, and I want to tell him, I want him to tell what exactly in terms of quality and quantity for money aspects. Welcome, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Ananya, for asking me and involving me in this discussion. So definitely the quality aspect is very important in terms of money things also, and investing and everywhere. So balance, I will say balance is very important in terms of money matters. So quantity is definitely, yes, many times we feel money is always connected to quantity. Jitna jada utna acha. But you will see lot of examples of like crore-pratis or like ultra rich people, but not having a quality life. They are like struggling with the health issues and lot of issues with even the relationships and all those things. So definitely quality is very important, means like the balance between your like quantum of money and how you are like leading your life. So that is important. And if you talk about like particularly about money, so investing and as you mentioned, like mutual funds and all those things. So yes, the even balance there, it's not only about the quantity of portfolio, like 1 crore portfolio, 10 crore portfolio, the quality of that portfolio, how it is means like how rich it is, how well managed the portfolio is. So the quality of portfolio is very important than the quantity of that particular thing. So yes, this is about like there is a lot to talk about the on this aspect also on the money matters. But yes, I will tell like just in short, it is quality is very important. That's what I have my opinion.
Thank you so much, Rahul. You ended it very short and sweet, and it's very nice. Yes, the balance is more important to all of us. It's not just more money, and you get to lose all of it in some point in time, and you lose your patience, everything, or everything that you have, you lose. You lose your calm. So let's move on to the next panel. After health and money, we all have only one thing in common. What is that resource? Can anybody answer? It's a resource and we all have only one thing. You can ping if you know the answer, or if you raise hand. Exactly. Thank you, Sudhanshu. Time is the next aspect in life. We all have only equal amount of time. And I would like to invite Ms. Madhu Punjabi for us to talk about what is important in terms of quality and quantity for us in time. She's actually the digital wellness coach, and she's a speaker and author of one international bestseller, and a commercial banker turned development banker, and turned to be a life coach. 4 decades of corporate experience transformed millions of lives. Let me welcome Ms. Madhu Punjabi to talk about in terms of quality or quantity for time. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ananya. Thank you so much. So when we talk about time, it's quite natural. The quality of time wins over the quantity of time. being a parenting coach, I would say it is the exclusive time that the parents spend with the child that would create emotional bond between the two. That is the very essence of the bond. Well, that would not allow the quantity aspect to escape. The quantity of time spent with the child can be an icing on the cake in this case. So here I would say in parenting, the time matters, the quality one as well as the quantity. The more you invest time, the more is the bonding. The more quality time that you give, the one-to-one, there are different ways that we normally promote as telling story to your child, talking one-to-one, giving them exclusive time, playing with them some game one-to-one. These are all the quality which create treasure for life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was wonderful. And after time, health, money, we have spoken so many things. What will we do without education? That's the most important. That's why we are here talking and discussing so many things. So let me call upon Dr. Haleema ma'am to speak about education. What is important in terms of quality and quantity for education for all of us? And she is a personal leadership trainer and failure management coach. She's a doctorate in management studies. She's master in English, Arabic, Urdu, and education. She's from IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Kozhikode. Training school management, NUP, PEA, all these certifications she had got. And she's a bachelor in English and education as well. So let me welcome Dr. Haleema to speak about education.
Thank you, Ananya. And I was waiting that when education is going to get the chance. But anyway, after health, time, and after money, at least the education has taken place. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that the education is the foundation of any society. And without education, no society can imagine to prosper. As far as quality is concerned, in education, without quality, we cannot even imagine the education happening. If there is no quality in education, it means that there is no education at all. And that's what happening in some of the nations, even in some of the area of our nation as well, that as per the research, the people who are literate, their number is increasing, and we are happy about that. But when it comes to the quality,
I guess we have there's a technical glitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost her. Maybe she'll join in sometime. And in the meantime,
is she back? Dr. Haleema, are you back?
Yes, she's back.
Yes, actually there was some network connection issue.
Continue.
So that's what I was mentioning, that the issue is that we have our literacy rate is increasing, but the quality of education is not increasing, especially in our rural areas. So we have to focus on the quality, and quality will only come when we have the proper check. Like I have seen some of the videos being viral that the teacher was teaching SAND Sunday to the students, and these type of many things are happening at many places. So I firmly believe that quality education is not only the right of the rich people, those who are studying in the private and public schools, or they can spend high fees and they can send their children to those schools, but it is the right of even the poorest to poor. This is the right of even those who are living in the slums, and we have to provide them the quality education. As educators, this is our responsibility, that we have to ensure that the child who is enrolled with us is getting quality education. Without that, there is no education at all.
Very well said, ma'am. Of course, yes, we need to concentrate on the rural areas as well as we give importance to the cities, urban areas. So very well said. And so with that, I would like to conclude.
I'm just remembering something, Ananya. I'll just tell. There was this patient, when a young patient comes to us who's having diabetes, and I asked him a question like, why do you think that you got this diabetes? You're just 25, 26. So the answer that comes to me is, it is a gift from my parents. So I always wonder why they talk like that. I said, parents give you beautiful things. They give you love and affection. They give you a lot of lovely things. They won't give you diabetes. So friends, I want to tell each and everyone over here, we have to take responsibility for the getting diabetes or not getting diabetes. Even if we have the history of diabetes in our family, we can take care of our lifestyle, food, exercise, and everything. And we can prevent diabetes at such a young age. That's what I want to tell. And the second thing I remember is about cancer. When we are treating cancer patients, and we are just postponing their death, but we are not improving their quality. So the idea should be to give them a good quality of life, let them be with the family, with their near and dear ones, sharing their experiences of life, rather than postponing their death and having a life full of pipes and tubes and all that. Thank you very much.
Ananya, actually earlier you were, I was thinking that speaking about the quantity, at times quantity is also important. It's not that we can totally ignore the quantity. It is a term that can be considered situational based. In some situations, we have to go for the quantity. Like if we are helping the people, and if we are reaching out to the people with some sort of help, then naturally we will go there, that how many people we are reaching to, how many people we are going to. And as far as quality is concerned, as Brigadier Hasin has clearly said here, that he wanted to buy a car. So there are multiple brand of cars is available. Which one we are going to name as the quality, and which one we are going to name as non-quality? It depends on the person's buying capacity, the person's purchasing capacity, and the situation when the person is going to buy. So I think this is a quite a debatable issue. Of course, quality is important always, but there are certain situations, there are certain occasions when we have to think about the quantity as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Haleema. You're on mute, Ananya. You're on mute.
Yeah, Ananya, I'll take it on. Yeah, I saw that. So thank you. You have, we had actually, some people could not join today. Some issue was there with somebody. So we will be, soon this thing. But Ananya has asked me in a private message to sum up today's, panel discussion somewhere. And that was the last question, in fact, for the evening. And, we have seen what is quality and quantity. But hum aankh kabhi bhi nahi band karke chal sakte. Please take this final point, that aankh band karke nahi chal sakte. वो बिल्कुल डिपेंड करता है कि आप किस एज और स्टेज में हैं, what time of frame, what thing you are buying. If you have to buy a helicopter, you know what you will like to do. If you have to buy a car for your family, you know what you will like to do. But there are certain situations where you will say, okay, let my money buy quantity. So it is eventually what has been talked over today. The health is what is important when you have to trade off between the health and this thing. So you will say, no, I will definitely like to have health. So when it comes to the finance aspect, yes, money is important, but at a point. Again, over money may not be required. As per me, over money is not required, but money which is justifiably making our life happy. Let's have a balanced thinking even in our money approach. Okay. And, it was very well said by Dr. Alka, be the change that you want to be. So you can take a decision finally on your own, and what issue of your life is there, but you cannot, always trade off between the two. You will have to balance as per the stage and the importance of the product or the thing which you are going to go for. But a personal thought is quality should always be on the top of your list, on the top of your mind. It'll rather carry you a little longer, right? So with that, back to you, Ananya.
Thank you so much, sir. Very well said. Yes, we do have a dilemma, and we choose quantity over quality, and then mostly we choose quality over quantity. So that was wonderfully said by you. And having said that, I would like to open the discussion. Let me just share the screen. Please let me know if you're able to see the screen. So I'm opening the
Yes,
house,
yes.
Yes, it's visible.
opening the house to all of you audiences. If you have any suggestions or thoughts that you want to say, if you want to add any points, you can come up now. You can unmute yourself. And I noticed Tanvir sir had already raised a question. So would you like to come up, sir?
Yeah, Ananya, thank you so much for giving the opportunity. Let me first introduce myself for the audience. I'm Colonel Tyagi Raghav, and I have served around 25 years in the army, then thereafter around 13 years in the corporate, and that too in the topic which was going on in the sales and the business development, the positions of sales director and the vice president. So it was first of all very interesting discussion, very interesting. After that, the debate on the time and the quality of life. So my take on this is that firstly, everything in this world is in abundance except the time. The time is the only thing which is the limited with us, all of us. It is the limited time, and we don't know that how much time we have. So whatever we want to do, if we can make use of the time in the quality, or we can have the quality time, naturally we can have our quality of life. What I mean to say is that, as I mentioned to you, that I had an army tenure, then the corporate. Thereafter, I have transitioned into the self-development industry, and my mission or my niche is basically unhook the people from past and win life like a warrior. So here I am saying the win life like a warrior doesn't mean that you have to go to the battlefield and fight. What I'm saying is that one has to fight the demons within himself. And those demons are basically your regressive attitude, your self-sabotaging traits, your self-limiting beliefs, and your negative thoughts. If you can fight all these demons of your life, you will certainly have your quality of life. And that goes without saying. It is not for only an individual, even the people around you. If you can help them overcome and defeat these demons of your life, I can tell you that every one of us can have a quality of life. So that is the, I need to say, as far as the quality and quantity is concerned. And very simple way, that few things which this sales presentation has been said, even the demon of fear of failure, the majority of us have the fear of failure. Always we have a fear of failure. And without knowing that the far end of any failure is the success. Every failure, the far end is the success. And when we call it the fail, it is basically the first attempt in learning. So if we keep all these things in mind, I'm sure that anything in the life, we can always make a quality life. So rather than bothering too much about the quantity, it is the quality, wherein the time is always limited, and we must make use of our time as a quality time, then everything will be beautiful around us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was wonderfully said by you. Do we have anybody else to add on? We are almost in the closing time. So if you have, if somebody has something to say, we can just one more person.
Yeah, I'll just add something. I always believe in one, Sachin's side. I always believe in one thing, like we should, well, taking quality and quantity, the best is good of enemy. Best is the enemy of good. So at times we need to just ensure that we don't go overboard on quality, where we compromise on certain timelines or certain things which require quantity at that particular time. So just that's what I want to add to it. That's it.
Thank you so much,
It was a nice session on quantity over quality and quality over quantity. I think both are important at different stages of life, as very well mentioned by Colonel sir.
Thank you, Sachin.
Thank you, Sachin sir. It's wonderful. Yes, that's true. Many of us decide on either side. Though in a dilemma, we decide according to whatever our needs are. And I would like to call our mentor who's here, Jogesh, who also wants to add something about his experience on sales. which he's been doing it for over 5 years now.
Thank you. So I was wanting to be a listener today, and more of, I think I could not attend the entire session. I was on the move, and just in the last part when Sudhanshu was sharing the his contact details, I think that's what I kind of joined in. But it's always good to kind of be into the session organized by LSN. Great work again. And on sales, I personally believe the perspective and mindset of selling is serving. The more you sell, the more you serve. I think that kind of brought in, for me personally, the belief about, sales is not good. I did not have experience, and all of that kind of, it kind of got vanished the moment I transitioned into the belief of selling is serving. That's on sales. That's one thing which I'll say. On quality and quantity, I think for me it is both. I need quantity and I need quality in that quantity. So I mean, of course, you can take the best of both, and I believe that if we can have both, why not? So that's my 2 cents there, Ananya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yogesh. It was, yes, very, very true. We as coaches, we need to have both quality and quantity. Otherwise, we do not reach to many people. Very well said.
And I was thinking, Ananya, I was thinking of the Guinness World Records, where it depends on the quantity, that how many people, how many number, how many things. So it was going in my mind also.
So true, so true. Of course, yes. I mean, the records always go with the quantity. So very true, ma'am. And yes, any last people who want, anyone last who want to say something? Anybody from the audience?
We have Mr. Gurudat. Can he, any feedback also? Anybody who's not speaking and spoken, Rupaji, Seemaji, anybody, if you can give even your suggestions as of now. Okay, and even participate in the open house. Please come on. Off camera, on camera, anyway. Gurudat ji, yeah, over to you. Rupaji, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. It was a great session. I am from a non-sales background and introvert person.
Yeah, something about you. Yeah, something about you. Where are you?
Yes. Yeah. So today, definitely, now I'm into healing, and most important takeaway for me was when somebody says no, that's not a no, and it could turn to a yes. And yes, already that was a good session, and all the sessions are quite interesting, and thank you so much for organizing.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, so we have come to the end, and I would like to share our contacts if anybody has something to share, if you have any questions.
Brigadier sir is raising the hand.
Yeah, Brigadier sir, please call Sushil Bazin sir.
Yes, sir. Please, sir. Always.
So what I wanted to just say was that this morning I was listening to a session by Brian Tracy, and he said that never in history have we been in a situation of fierce competition as we happen to be in today, in any walk of life, in any industry. Whether you are a student, you're fighting for 90% marks. Whether you are a CEO, you're fighting. Everyone is really into a very competitive mode. And what Yogesh just said is something I want all of you to take away from this as one line takeaway from this session, that I want quantity, and in that quantity, I want quality. So first is quantity. I want to have lots, but in that lot, there's no compromise. So I'm not compromising quality for quantity, but I certainly cannot ignore quantity, because today is not the world of quality. Even if you believe in it, even if your belief system says that quality is more important, but you will have to have a balance. And in that balance, if you can achieve, though this is the highest form, that I want quantity, and in that quantity, I want quality. So what Jogesh said was 2 cents is actually a $2 million statement.
Thank you. Yes, very rightly brought out.
It's also, related to what I said probably earlier, that we used to have a term saying, don't undercommit and overperform. And I told you, no, it's now overcommit and overperform. So the point is, if you want to stand out and if you want to live a quality life, a satisfying life, then you will have to aim for the highest, and this is the highest. Now, when I look at quantity and quality, in that quantity, whatever you can achieve, you may not like it's 100%, so you may achieve 85, 90, whatever, but that has to be your aim. Don't get satisfied just by quality. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Jogesh ji, also. Yeah, it's filling up the evening. Yeah, Ananya, do we have somebody more?
Yes, I would like to call upon Suman Nair if she wants to say something.
Thank you, Ananya. Yeah, I just want to say the same thing. I totally agree with Brigadier Sir and Jogesh Chen. In today's world, quality and quantity both matter equally. So yes, we have to aim for both.
Thank you so much. And I would like to call upon Kamal sir. So would you like to say something?
I think he just left a message. He had to leave immediately for some urgent thing. Okay. So if there is somebody else, just ask. Otherwise, yes.
Yeah. Is anybody else would like to add something? Okay. So I consider that nobody has anything. And to help you connect with us, we have listed all our connects, like our links for Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Clubhouse. We all have links here listed, and also have a phone number if you want to have a quick call or something. You can always reach out to us. You can connect with us. You can have discussions. You want to have any clarifications, you can anytime you can reach out to us. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time today.
Thank you so much, Ananya. Thank you for taking over and moderating. Yeah, we sincerely like to thank each and every audience who was here on board today. We'd like to thank you on behalf of Life Skills Nest. Just here to add some value.
Just inform them that in January we are bringing the New Year gift by organizing.
आप बता दीजिए. आप बताइए.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to announce here on behalf of my team that in the month of January, we are going to have 3 days the training sessions on the life skills. If anyone is interested, that will cover leadership, and that will go to like different topics. It will be on leadership, it will be on communication, it will be on money mindset, it is going to be on digital awareness. So there are going to be 9 sessions in 3 days. And for those who are going to register with us, like early 20 people will be complimentary. There won't be any charges for that. And after that, we are going to have nominal charges. So this is a good news. I just wanted before to say Happy New Year to each one of you. Let me just give you this good news. Thank you very much, Sushobit ji. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you. And just also want to inform everyone that Mondays we have we interact with you on Instagram. And Thursdays we interact every of Thursday 8 p.m. That is Monday 8 p.m. Instagram, and Thursday 8 p.m. Clubhouse. We are planning to add podcast, and Facebook Live is also goes along with the Instagram. Yeah.
So with that, I would like to say Happy New Year to all of you. Enjoy your holidays, and let's connect back on Monday for Instagram Live.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ananya. I think we can start.